Today's lesson, Rule 144. When we talk about Rule 144, we're referring to restricted stock and controlled persons. Let's talk about restricted stock first. Restricted stock is referring to stock that has been purchased by an investor, but not in a standard public offering. Restricted stock is usually purchased privately rather than publicly, meaning that it has not been registered with the SEC. Restricted shares, also known as unregistered stock, must be held fully paid for 6 months at a minimum before it can be resold. From then on, the stock can be resold subject to Rule 144 and traded freely thereafter. Now let's talk about controlled persons. Controlled persons, also known as restricted persons or affiliates, are individuals closely tied to the issuer in some form or fashion. This applies to any officer, such as CEO, CFO, or COO. Also, any member of the board of directors and employees of the underwriter would be considered affiliates. Lastly, this applies to any investor that owns 10% or more of the company's stock. This rule applies to anyone that is considered to be close family, which applies to your spouse, children, siblings, parents, and in-laws. So for example, if you own 4% of a company's stock and your brother owns 6%, you'd both be considered controlled persons as your combined ownership would be at 10%. Controlled persons have volume restrictions. This means that they can only trade once every quarter of the year and must file Form 144 to find out how many shares they can sell. But wait, how is this determined? Controlled persons can trade either 1% of the total shares outstanding or the average trading volume over the last 4 weeks, whichever is greater. For example, let's say XYZ Corporation has 90 million shares outstanding. 1% of 90 million is 900,000. Next, we find the average volume of the last 4 weeks. Let's say it was 800,000, 825,000, 910,000, and 1 million. That would be an average of 883,750 shares. Since the 1% of total shares is higher, that's the amount the controlled person would be able to trade that quarter. Now pay attention. Between controlled persons and restricted stock, you can have up to 4 combinations: an affiliate with restricted shares, an affiliate with unrestricted shares, a non-affiliate with restricted shares, and a non-affiliate with unrestricted shares.